Let's see which kinds of clients you need to work for, which kind of clients can give you retainers, whether it could be individuals or businesses. So individuals would never give you retainers, right? Because their work is always one off, not repeatable, unless there's a proprietorship business. Okay. So usually you would be working for businesses for retainer arrangements. However, occasionally there are high net worth individuals, directors of companies, whom you may from time to time assist in a personal capacity, okay, to build your credibility, because they may introduce you to their own company, or maybe to their investor, or maybe to a supplier, or to another they may refer you to someone else. But mastering the work that an individual need is usually not going to help you for retainer work, right? Then so you've got to learn the services which a business will need again and again. Then when the request for a retainer may be misleading, this is very important, because if you want to transition into retainers, you should know when is the right time to move into a retainer conversation. Now when a client asks you for a price quote, okay, at that time, let's say, a client says, I need a few contracts drafted, give me a quote for this kind of deal, for a distribution deal. You give them a quote, and then they say, okay, now you give me a retainer quote. Now, that's a misleading retainer request, because the client is actually evaluating your services, and it's actually a negotiation from the client's end to cut down the cost. And there is no trust established. So there's no clarity on whether the client's going to give you work at the moment. And they're asking you for a retainer. Okay, so it's like jumping a few steps. At that moment, you need to push this back and move into serving on individual mandates, the so that you can get the client faster. And if he's not clear on what value he's getting, he will speak up about that. Okay, at that point, you do not have to go into the retainer conversation. After you've quoted, okay, so, and in the first few interactions, like you've not served the client at all, and you've had great conversations, and he really trusts you and straight away asks for a retainer quote, again there will be a problem there. At least serve the client a few times. Okay, so what is the homework that you should have done to obtain a retainer? This is very important. 3 to 4 individual mandates must have been secured by you with the same client. Okay, even in an exceptional case, maybe it'll be 2 mandates, but the client should have given you individual items of work, paid you for it, and been happy about it. That's when you know that the transition to a retainer is genuine. Okay, and these first 3 to 4 mandates may be non-repeatable work. That's not a problem. That's fine. Then you will also need to spot this, and you may need to help out your client in seeing, is there similar amount of work that is there similar work that the client needs? What is the repeatable work? Because the client may not be able to identify that very easily. You will be able to. Okay, so what is the repeatable work which is needed again and again and again by the client? Also, you will need to identify that, is this work going to be done simply by making a template, or do I need to work on it again? Because if I can hand the process over completely to the client, then I am not needed for that retainer. Usually you will see that when you move to a retainer arrangement, the first few months are very, very heavy, because you will be doing things for the first time and from scratch. But after that, from your perspective, you will have some materials prepared, some templates prepared, which you can deploy to the work of the client. Okay, however, the client may not be skilled enough to do it himself. Okay, but that is where the advantage for you lies, because you figured out the system. But it should not be something which can completely be palmed off. Usually legal services are not like that. You will not be able to palm off everything. Why? I'll tell you. Suppose you're serving a technology company, and they're frequently entering into an agreement called the integration partner agreement. So you may have come up with one template, but the thing is that every time their sales team has a contract with a client, they will have separate commercials. Based on those commercials, some clauses will go in, some clauses will be excluded. Then there will be negotiations with their teams. So you'll have to be on those calls. Even if you've got the perfect draft, even if you create a negotiation manual for the client, you'll still have to you'll have to be on the calls. You'll have to review and edit the documents every time they sign up a business to business client. Okay, so that's great, right? Because now that's going to be stable for you, stable source of work. Then what you want to do is identify that, okay, if the client is expanding, they're going to have, let's say, 10 new businesses signed up for themselves every week, then how many contracts will they need? And how much time does every contract take you to do? Maybe it takes you 1 hour, 1.5 hour after the template and all is ready. And maybe the first template will take you, say, 8 hours or 9 hours. So then you can quantify, right? That one contract a week, sorry, 10 contracts a week will take me about 10 hours of work. That's 40 hours in a month. Or if it's only 5 contracts, then this is going to take me 20 hours a month. Okay. Like this, when you are having a conversation on a retainer with the client, you will need to help the client in identifying what their needs will be. It makes sense to make a PowerPoint presentation where you walk them through their business and help them identify which aspects will be one off and which aspects will be recurring.